I feel like poetry kind of saved my life. So I'm gonna start with a little introduction. I was lucky. I grew up with great poetry. As a child, my family read to me the poetry of Edward Lear, Ogden Nash, Nancy Willard, who wrote a children's book called A Visit to William Blake's Inn, Wilhelm Busch, who wrote Max and Moritz, which is a German kind of a story for children, and Heinrich Hoffmann, who wrote Strudelpeter, which is probably the most horrifying children's book that you'll ever see, but it's in German, so that explains everything that you need to know about it. And then we listen to all kinds of music. We listen to Tom Lehrer and Peter Schickele, who has a fake persona called PDQ Bach. And so I listened to a lot of classical music growing up. And so all of that throughout my childhood made an indelible impression upon my sense of humor and rhyme. In particular, the lyrics of these musical comedians affected me so deeply, I can still quote them verbatim today. In a lot of ways, I had a twisted and dark sense of humor, particularly for a precocious child, which separated me from other children, drew me to adults, and only delved me further into edgy and quirky writing. You know, other kids might be singing The Wheels on the Bus or nursery rhymes, but when I was asked to sing a song, I would break out into Tom Lehrer's The Irish Ballad. About a maid I'll sing a song, sing rickety tickety tin. About a maid I'll sing a song who didn't have her family long. Not only did she do them wrong, she did every one of them in. So, talk about making things awkward. I wasn't quite Wednesday Addams, but neither was I your average kid. While I read a lot of age-appropriate children's books, I certainly wasn't relegated to the junior section, either in my home or at our local library. My mother didn't hold back on the saucier poems or songs either. My family wasn't prudish, and they didn't differentiate between literature or music based on content as much as quality. One of my favorite children's books is a collection of poems by Nancy Willard, and in A Visit to William Blake's Inn, Poems for Innocent and Experienced Travelers, she describes a visit with the poet who brought us Tiger, Tiger. Willard gathered fantastical creatures and characters of William Blake, and she brings them to life in a lovely context for a child to visit the writer and be thoroughly enthralled with his world. Blake's work lends itself to the imagination of a child because his writing was so visual and contextual. There are many favorite poems from that book, and to this day, I can still recite The King of Cats orders an early breakfast. Roast me a wren to start with, then brisket a basilisk treat. My breakfast is on the house? What a curious place to eat. There's no accounting for customs. My tastes are simple and few. A fat mole smothered in starlight and a heavenly 9-mouse stew. With poets like Edward Lear and Ogden Nash, I was introduced to creative writing. While Dr. Seuss is tremendous and made a huge impact on young readers all over the world, overly rhyming poetry can appear simplistic and droll, but in the hands of a talented writer like Ogden Nash, great wordplay can happen in even the simplest situations. One of my favorites is, a panther is like a leopard, except it hasn't been peppered. Should you behold a panther crouch, prepare to say ouch. Better yet, if called by a panther, don't answer. Even so, I avoided rhyme to set myself aside as a serious poet. I started writing for myself as a preteen. At 11 years old, I considered myself a poetess, although my poetry was the typical angst-ridden teenage fare. It wasn't until late in high school that I harnessed my quirky sense of humor and was able to use it in a way to get my point across with the reader and not come off as preachy or insufferable. So, I dreamed I could breathe in my maiden-form bra. I dreamed I wasn't pushed together or up or out. I dreamed I was myself in my maiden-form bra. I dreamed I wasn't ashamed of who I was in or out of my maiden-form bra. I dreamed I was wireless, human, asymmetrical in my maiden-form bra. That was the first time I really struck a chord with my audience. A poem that was on the surface a play on the maiden-form bra print ads of my mother's youth became a humorous statement on feminism, body dysmorphia, and the sacrifices to comfort that women are willing to make for the sake of fickle fashion trends. My mother made an indelible impression on my worldview. As a teenager, I perfected the art of appearing to listen to her without actually hearing anything. But somehow all of her experiences, all the writers she valued, all the music she loved, all the films she appreciated and approved of, made their way into my vernacular and into my internal guide to the arts. This is not to say that I haven't discovered artists, writers, and directors along the way of my own appreciation, but it's almost as if she gave me a map of the world and filled in some of the spaces for me. Poetry has always been a part of my life, and I've loved being surrounded by poets. It's forced me to take chances, trust my instincts, and to read contemporary poets other than the ones that I know locally. But I am truly grateful for our poetry community.